Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and we are here to preview the Carolina Panthers heading down to Miami, face
Whew.
the Miami Dolphins, the iconic Miami Dolphins. Not so iconic this year.
I,
They're not having
th-
a great season, but
hey,
coming on a little strong lately.
yeah, three in a win, three out of their four wins in the past three games. I mean,
Yeah,
and Baltimore's one of them, so they're
yeah.
on a little bit of a hot streak right now.
They beat the mighty Patriots in week one, then they promptly lost seven in a row.
Yeah,
And they've beat the Jets and Houston with Baltimore in the middle. So, not exactly a murderer's row of wins here for them, but they
no,
are on a streak, and the
they're
Panthers are
playing well.
not. So,
Playing well. The good news is at least it's away because the Panthers stink
yeah,
away or at
we,
home
yeah,
lately.
we don't seem to be able to win at home. Um, so things are looking up for the Panthers, I guess, in that regard. We're not here, so you know, heading down to South Beach. But yeah, we're gonna get into our predictions on the game and matchups, all the normal things. But before that, we've got a little bit of news to talk about.
All right. Outside linebacker Hassan Reddick leads all outside linebacker in Pro Bowl voting. Good job, guys. And Pro Bowl
Yeah.
voting is still available, so you can go vote as many times as you want for as many Panthers as you want. And I've done it multiple times, so I can't.
What Panthers do you think? Like, give me your three Panthers you think should definitely make the Pro Bowl, if there are three.
Hassan Reddick,
Obviously, Reddick.
DJ Moore.
Okay.
The last spot, you could maybe say Brian Burns. Dante Jackson was making a good case up until last
Mm-hmm.
week. Um, Other than that, there's not Shaq Thompson. There we go. I mean,
Mm.
if he didn't miss those games, I think he would be right there
Yeah.
and leading
I
the
think
team in votes.
I think Reddick is the only one that makes it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, DJ Moore has got so much competition
Hmm.
at that position. The guys that are having better seasons. Um,
And his numbers are probably going to go down with the more focus on the run game. I mean,
yeah, I mean we've already seen it. The
yeah.
last several weeks they've been down. I know one person who's not going to make it is Robbie Anderson. All right. Next, little bit of news here. Former Panthers great Steve Smith is a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame. I think there's 26 players right now that are semifinalists. They're going to cut it down to 15 in a couple of weeks, and then um, they'll vote. I guess around the Super Bowl is when they vote.
Hmm. I think in
Let's
the Super
see.
Bowl they announce it. I don't know. I'm not that
Yeah,
keen on.
it's sometime around the Super Bowl all that happens. So yeah, Steve Smith is a finalist, and Jerry and I talked about Steve Smith's potential for the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I guess that was a couple months ago now that we
I don't
talked about
remember.
that. Yeah, we talked about it quite a bit. I don't think that video made it to YouTube, so we might have to go back in the archives and look for that one. But both Jerry and I, of course, think Steve Smith is a Hall of Famer. Our main discussion is whether he gets in on the first ballot or not. So go back and check out that podcast. It's somewhere back there. But yeah, so that's exciting. Sam Mills also in that
Yeah.
on that list.
He has a good chance. There is quite a bit of other receivers. That's the problem with the receiver position
Hmm.
is there's just a backlog of players out there. Andre
Yeah,
Johnson, Reggie Wayne, like it's just
Torrey
Heinz
Holt.
Ward. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Anquan Bolden. So yeah, I was kind of texting you earlier, and for me, I think that Reggie Wayne is probably the only one that I could see getting the nod over Steve Smith. Just their numbers are so similar, and Wayne's got the Super Bowl.
I
So
thought
I
Andre
think
Johnson had a lot of numbers.
his numbers don't compare to Steve. He's got numbers, but Reggie Wayne's is basically like almost the same. Like they're just so close. Andre Johnson could have played a little longer too, I think.
It doesn't look like he could have played longer because he trailed off hard in his last
Yeah.
few seasons. One, two, three. Um, I love when
mean, he's
websites pull up and then all of a sudden start bouncing around on you. I hate that.
yeah. So Andre Johnson's he's 11th all time in receiving yards. Steve Smith's 8. Reggie Wayne is 10th. So I mean they're kind of close, but I think Steve Smith obviously of the people that are semifinalists has the most receiving yards of anybody in that group.
I
Actually kind of surprised that Anquan Bolden is
not up there.
I mean he's 14th.
Well, Andre
time,
Johnson
so.
had 7,000-yard receiving seasons in his 12-year career. So I mean that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah. That is pretty impressive. Yeah, and so we'll see. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. Obviously, we're rooting for Steve Smith. 81 total touchdowns for Steve Smith. That's 30th all time. And I think the other guys Reggie Wayne's got 82. So I mean, basically, like I said, Reggie Wayne. If you look at Reggie Wayne and Steve Smith's stats, they're so similar. And then Wayne's got the Super Bowl, so I think that might give him a little edge.
Yeah, but he also had Peyton Manning, which Steve Smith had Jake Delhomme. I'm sorry, Jake. You're not
it's
in
a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
He's in the Hall of Honor, the Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So.
I don't know that that's going to sway But one of the good things, this is something we talked about on our podcast, with Steve Smith now being in the media, being beloved by the media, still out in front every Sunday and during the week on NFL Network. That's going to do nothing but help him.
Yeah, it really will.
So I think that could be definitely a point in his favor. All right, let's get into the injury reports here. A little bit of injury news. J.C. Horn was at practice on Wednesday. Did not practice. He was in a red jersey, just kind of sitting on the sidelines watching. But he was there, and that is progress.
Very much so. And it's I was not expecting him to actually get back practicing even, but very good news. I'm glad he's out there. Hopefully he can return this season and kind of pick up where he left off, because he was really good at the beginning of the season when he was playing.
Oh, yeah. He was great. I mean, Matt Rule basically said that no timetable, not sure if he's going to be able to get back this season or not. But, if it's me and the Panthers are, I don't know. I don't know if I want him to come back or not. I kind of don't. Because that foot injury, like we saw what happened to Greg Olsen, like trying to come back and then injuring it again, and it just kind of never really got better.
Yeah, I would err on the side of caution, but I would listen to the doctors. I mean, the medical staff has to give you the truth, and if it's he probably could be like, nope, he's not going.
Yeah, and J.C. Horn quite a bit younger than Greg Olsen, obviously completely different situations. I don't know what the foot injuries in terms of their differences or similarities. I have no idea. But it does scare me when I hear broken foot. I just want J.C. Horn, especially at that position, he's going to need all the movement, fluidity that he can get. So I would say we've got enough corners to get us through the rest of the season, high quality corners.
Yeah, and you also don't want to put him out there and kind of have him start messing up or getting burnt and kind of having it get in his head either. If he is still injured, that's the big thing.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes. If Gilmore gets hurt or Dante gets hurt or something, and we're in a playoff push, then obviously that thought changes. But as of right now, I'd say extreme caution with him. All right, Panthers injury report is pretty small here. Only 3 guys on it. Dennis Daly, full practice. By the way, we're recording this on Wednesday. I don't think that the Panthers are practicing Thursday. If they are, it would be I would imagine a
quick walkthrough. Yeah,
very quick. So this is the injury report as of Wednesday. Dennis Daly, full practice. Miles Hartsfield did not practice. John Miller, limited practice. I think John Miller is going to play, obviously. So good to see Dennis Daly with the full practice. I know he got a little banged up last week. So we need all the offensive line depth we can get. So
yeah, I'll talk about it in our matchups later on. But I mean, Brady Christensen graded out great last week. at left tackle when he subbed in. So I'll be interested how they decide to go that route forward.
Yeah, how many snaps was he out there though?
I don't know. I don't
I
have
don't
it.
think he was out there a ton. We can look that up. You
Yeah,
look that up while I talk about Miami. All right, so Miami's injuries, quite a bit of a longer list here. Did not practice Elijah Campbell, Adam Shaheen, that's their tight end. Limited practices, Javon Holland, Xavier Howard, Brandon Jones, Byron Jones, Elondon Roberts, and Christian Wilkins. So both their starting corners, just vet rest for them, so they're fine. But they're listed on the injury report, but just as rest. And then full practice, you got Jerome Baker, Robert Jones, Eric Rowe, and Preston Williams. So nobody of major consequence on the injury report with an actual injury for the Dolphins. So they're coming in fairly healthy. Did you find that snap count?
he played 80% of the offensive snaps.
Okay. So he got in there quite a bit earlier than I thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dennis Daly went down in the first quarter. I thought.
Okay.
But I didn't know if they were subbing him in and out again. 500 section. Yeah. I'm not, and I did not rewatch this game. I was way too angry at it.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. Okay, so that's legitimate then. Yeah, everybody's really on the Brady Christensen bandwagon after one good game. So we'll see if he can keep it up.
I think it's just more hopeful bandwagon than maybe a real bandwagon. It's like, hey, did we maybe get a left tackle? Please help us.
Well, Jerry, you're thinking that way.
Yes,
you're thinking that way. I've seen some others. Oh, I told you that Brady Christensen was the answer at left tackle. They just needed to play him. Blah blah blah. Okay, well they played him earlier in the season and he was not good.
No, he was not good really bad.
So let's not get too crazy here. Obviously, we hope Brady Christensen is the answer at left tackle. That would be amazing, and really would kind of change our season. So I do hope that is the case.
Yeah, it'll definitely change our off season too. So
for sure, yep, it would definitely change the focus because right now the focus should 100% be on finding a left tackle,
finding a future quarterback. Going on that route.
Yep. All right, Panthers are 2-point favorites in this game. Now that's changed quite a bit because at the very beginning of the week, I think the Dolphins were favored by a point. Wow. And then it went to like 1 point the Panthers and 1.5, and now it's at 2. Over under set at 42. I saw 41.5 a few places, basically the same thing. So again, I mean, Panthers have only gone over like 38 points or something 4 times this season in terms of the over under for both teams. So yeah, maybe choose the under because the Dolphins don't score a lot of points either, Jerry.
No, and they have a good defense. So same. I just
they have an okay defense. I don't think their defense is very good. We'll talk about it, but yeah.
Well, I mean, their strength is their defense. It's not an offensive powerhouse, but same here. So, and like you said, every week we are going under. So yeah, if you're gonna bet on this game, the under might be the way to go.
Might be. Then we have a 34-point outburst like we did a couple of weeks ago. So who knows? All right, let's get into to some of these matchups, Jerry.
All right, so the Miami Dolphins average 18.3 points per game and give up a whopping 24.5 points per game. I mean, yeah, you were right. They give up a lot more than I expected, to be honest with you. Now, Carolina, we all know they struggle. Only average 20.5 points per game and have given up 20 points per game. So they're right on that edge. But it's just so weird the way this team is. Sometimes they're really good, and sometimes they're really bad. Now, going into...
Sorry, just real quick. So, again, this is, again, on paper. Carolina scores more points, gives up less points. If you look at the rosters, talent-wise, the Panthers have way more talent. Way higher-end talent, I should say, than the Dolphins. I like them at almost every position over the Dolphins. I also like the Panthers last week. Again, almost every position over Washington. There's been several games this year, that the Panthers, the Giants. I mean, so
But it's
I don't know.
but a lot of those games, Matt Rule was outcoached. So
Yeah.
Well,
That's one thing that the Dolphins have a very respected head coach.
Brian Flores is a good coach, very respected, like you said. Now, my key matchup, my number one matchup, is the Panthers rush defense versus the Dolphins run game. Panthers rush defense gives up 114 yards per game, while the Dolphins only run 77 yards per game. But in the Panthers' losses, they're giving up more than 160 yards per game. So whenever teams are able to run on the Panthers defense, they lose. So luckily the Dolphins don't have a good running back stable, and they really don't try to run the ball that much. I mean, they only run the ball, 35% of the time. So
which is kind of surprising given their, Tua at quarterback, not like the best quarterback in the league. Mm-mm. Hasn't been super impressive since he's come into the league, but they don't have very good running backs either, like you said. So
no, I was actually shocked because when we were facing Miami, I started looking up. I was like, I don't even know who their running back is, and I usually know too deep on almost every team, and I was like, I don't know who Gaskin really is. Then I started looking, but yeah, not very good running backs down there.
No, this is a matchup the Panthers should win. Mm-hmm. Even though our rush defense, especially lately, has just not been good. And like you said, in losses, I mean, Phil Snow, Matt Rule, this is pretty easy. This is where you need to focus on defense right now, because when we lose, we're giving up a ton of rushing yards.
Yeah. And it's the big guys up front getting pushed around, which is surprising.
Yeah. And honestly, it's the linebackers. Mm-hmm. Like, Jermaine Carter has been terrible in the run game. He is not good in the run game. Just as a quick aside, Denzel Perryman is leading Pro Bowl voter in the AFC. A guy that is really actually pretty good against the run at that linebacker position. So would have been nice to have kept him. I know a lot of people are saying he was unvaccinated and it was a problem. Now, guess what? There's several Panthers that are unvaccinated. So would have been nice to have had him, but we don't. So the Panthers run defense is, good when they win, bad when they lose. So stop the run, win.
Yeah. You said Jermaine Carter's bad against the run. On PFF, he is ranked has a 35.6 rating.
That's out of 100, everyone.
Yes, that is out of 100. That is the lowest grade on Panthers defense.
Yeah.
Rushing or run defense. And he's a linebacker. That's where he's supposed to be really good at.
Yeah. And I didn't even look at PFF, but I just, from watching the games, he's bad. Mm-hmm. He's just not good at it. And we like Jermaine Carter a lot. We have been on the Jermaine Carter bandwagon since last year. But this is something he needs to get better at, and he needs to get better at it fast.
Otherwise, this offseason, they're going to have to find another linebacker somewhere because you can't give up run plays like this.
Yeah. And they traded Perryman because of how good they thought Jermaine Carter was. You gave up on Perryman, who is a Pro Bowl caliber player when healthy. That's always the caveat with him, is when healthy, for Jermaine Carter. So Jermaine Carter, he's got to figure something out. He's got to get in that film room. He's got to maybe work with, hire Luke Kuechly as your personal coach to kind of help you figure some stuff out there.
Shaq's out there and lighting guys up. So
yeah. Well, Jerry, that was your number one matchup, and I agree that I think that probably is the number one matchup, just given how bad the Panthers are when they lose. I think my number one matchup is going to be the Panthers O-line against the Dolphins blitz package, because the Dolphins blitz a lot, and they bring a lot of guys, which leaves, and this kind of dovetails into another matchup, but it leaves a lot of their corners one-on-one. And a lot of their corners are also very aggressive. This is a very aggressive defense. Mm-hmm. Panthers O-line has been better as of late. I mean, I think we've given up 2 sacks over the last 4 games or something. So pretty, that's at least a big improvement.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of that is game plan, what the Panthers have been doing, but they're going to have opportunities to throw the ball in man coverage and one-on-one coverage. And Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, they're deadly in those situations. So I think the Panthers are really going to have an opportunity here if they want to take it to rack up some passing yards against this really aggressive defense.
They're very aggressive, but they have very good corners out there too. Xavier Howard's a very good.
Their corner. Yeah, he's good. He's not been as good this year. He's a one of the better corners in the league for sure. He's not been as good this year. And like I said, they're aggressive, so he's going to make plays. It's kind of like Trayvon Diggs. Like he's going after the ball. He's probably going to make interceptions, but he's also going to give up some big plays here and there.
I mean,
so I think the Panthers have the opportunity to finally do some big plays and have some exciting offense this week. The opportunity is there. That's all I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but they're only getting about 2 sacks per game. It's not like they're getting to the quarterback that often. They've had 23.
No, I'm not
sacks.
saying that. Yeah, I'm just saying that they are aggressive. I mean, they are giving up 274 passing yards per game, which is 4th worst in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad against the pass.
So is Washington. They were worse, but we still didn't want to pass. I think
Washington is slightly better, but yeah, Washington's like 1 tick ahead of them.
Well, they were 30th
because
last week.
Last week.
No, they were 30th last week. So
yeah, no, I agree. I know what you're saying. They were probably worse than the Dolphins last week until they played us, and all of a sudden now they're better.
But I would like to see them try deep on a one-on-one against, DJ Moore against Xavier Howard, or, just try it, or split McCaffrey out, go one-on-one, see if the linebacker goes man on him, because, again, like you said, Christian McCaffrey is probably our second best receiver on this team, legitimately.
You could make an argument for best as well, just with how good his hands are and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's he's right there with DJ Moore in terms of big playability and explosiveness and all of that stuff. So yeah, I just think that the offensive line is going to need to hold up in this game. We say that every week, but they're going to have opportunities this week against the Dolphins, and also we can even get into our last matchup here as the Panthers run game. McCaffrey needs more than 10 touches in the run game. McCaffrey needs, McCaffrey, Chuba, whoever, they need more than 10 runs.
Yes, and we need to get Chuba in on that too. That's a big thing. I know he has fumbled a couple times, but you got to work with him, but he's a danger in there. You put him in there, you get Christian rest. Amir, I love you. Add him in, throw him in there for some downs. I like his pass catching ability. You can go put Cam back there, put Amir and Christian McCaffrey, and then split Christian out. Or Chuba and Christian, and then split Christian out. You still have a read option there, and you have Christian on the outside too, where he may be matched up to a linebacker, and you can audible quickly to a quick hitch or a go for him.
Yeah, or run the triple option. Like you got a lot of opportunities now with these 3 guys, but Chuba didn't get a single carry, didn't get a single touch last week. You still have that snap count up? I'd be curious to see what his snap counts actually were for last week, if he was in the game more than like 5 times.
Yes, he was in the game. He was in the game 1 time.
Okay.
1 time. He was on special teams 11 times, but I'm talking offensive snap, one snap.
1 snap, wow. Need more than that.
Yeah.
That was strange, especially after all the talk. And again, this coaching staff loves to talk about things that they don't actually do. They love to talk about, we got the 3-headed monster at running back. And no, you didn't do that last week. And that was a close game. We should have been running a lot more than we were.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I like the idea of, play McCaffrey for a series, play McCaffrey for 2 series, whatever. then play Chuba and let Amir be the third down back, or have Chuba and Amir in there
Yeah.
together, and just sit McCaffrey for that series. I mean, between Chuba and Amir, you've got the skill set of McCaffrey, not necessarily at the high end,
Yeah.
but Amir you're going to be your pass catcher, and Chuba can be your runner. This Dolphins team can be run on. Their run defense is better than their pass defense, but it's still not elite.
No.
That it's not an elite run defense. So the Panthers should be able to move the ball on this defense. I mean, that bottom line, they should be able to move the ball.
Yeah, and Cam has been shown that he can do well and move the ball with this offense as much as the offensive line has struggled when he's been in there since Sam Darnold has gone out. This offensive line has gotten a lot better. Just point blank, they play harder for PJ Walker and Cam Newton. And that's a good thing.
Yep. And this is now week 2.5 of Cam in this offense. They should be able to open it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
They should have a little more firm grasp on the playbook. So I would be surprised if we didn't see some different things than we saw last week.
I really hope so. And that there was some good things last week. Cam played well.
Cam played great. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, granted they only got 21 points, but you could see where building blocks are there. You just need to continue to add on it because it was only 9-10 days with the team.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, like we said last week, considering everything, Cam played out of his mind. You could not have asked for more from Cam last week. And honestly, I expected less. Nothing against Cam, just anybody in that position. Did not expect to see what we saw. So again, really happy with the Cam move, and I expect to see this week. I think there's going to be a lot more variety on the offense.
Now, on our defense, though, the Dolphins love to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for them, we're very good against the pass unless Dante Jackson is just lost out there like he was last week. Sorry, Dante, you had a great season, but I don't know what was going on with you last week.
That was rough last week. Yeah.
Dolphins averaged 233 yards per game. Panthers defense still number one, even after last week, 175 yards per game. And honestly, Jalen Waddle's having a really good season. 600 yards. And then after that, it goes to the running back as their number two. Tight end. Gazetsky and Gaskin. I got those.
Yeah.
Got those two mixed up.
I always get confused with those guys in fantasy. I'm like, which one is the tight end and which one is the running back?
The tight end's good. The tight end's really good, actually.
There you go.
But I forgot for a second. And then Devontae Parker, just a solid number two. That's
Yeah, Devontae Parker, we talked about him last offseason as a guy that potentially the Panthers could look at, or maybe it was the offseason before, but he was available and a guy both of us liked, and I think he's again kind of being underutilized there a little bit. I like his skill set, but Waddle is the rookie. The other was Ellis. No, he's Alabama receiver.
Yeah.
68 receptions already, 622 yards, only averaging 9.1 per reception. So they're getting him involved in a lot of underneath stuff. Does not break a lot of big plays. His long is only 36 this year. And I think he's most of the time in the teens as far as his long catches. So he's like a possession first down receiver for them. So the Panthers don't play back on him because he's going to eat you up. He's going to eat you up.
Their deep threat is Gazetsky. Gazetsky. He has 11 20-yard plus receptions this year. I mean, that's who you got to watch out for up that seam. That's going to be Jeremy Chin or Justin Burris has got to keep that on them.
Yep. And then they've got a few guys that can't. Albert Wilson has a 64-yard touchdown. Mac Hollins has a 65-yard touchdown. So, they've got some guys that can go deep. But they don't, they throw a lot of underneath stuff. They don't have anybody that's averaging more than about 14 yards a reception that has a decent amount of receptions. So they're not a throw it deep team. They are an
And
eat you up team.
and that's what's kind of scary is this Panthers defense loves to get after the quarterback, but last
Mm-hmm.
week they just sat back and let Heineke kind of pick them apart, which was
Yeah.
very weird that they did that instead of jamming the receivers at the line, getting after the quarterback, trying to rush the pass. So I hope we go back to the more blitzing, the more
Mm-hmm.
scheming to get the ball out of their hand fast, but also rattle them, hurry those throws instead of, yeah, you could throw it fast out of the, and give your receivers cushion.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to need to jam these receivers off the line. They're going to have to interrupt these routes because they get the ball off. I mean, like that's one thing that the Dolphins are doing, just like the Panthers are doing
Mm-hmm.
to protect the quarterback, is they're getting the ball out quick. It's short routes. It's, quick developing stuff. So Tua's not going to be sitting back there a lot. He's
Yeah.
not going to be sitting back there for more than 2 or 3 seconds. So if you're going to get him, you got to get him fast. So, I mean, like you said, it's unfortunately the type of team that tends to move
Yeah.
the ball against the Panthers.
The good thing is they have probably a worse tackle tandem than the Carolina Panthers do. They have been giving up sacks
Let's not
and
get ahead of ourselves here, Jerry.
no, they are bad. They are really bad. So hopefully Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns can feast. I was trying to find the sacks that they've given up, but it's an insane amount that they're giving up a pressure like 40,
Well,
50
so Jacoby
pressures.
Brissett's been sacked 18 times and Tua's been sacked 8 times. So Tua, who is going to start this game, definitely doesn't sit back there like Jacoby does. Jacoby Brissett, 18 sacks in 8 games, Tua 8 sacks in 7 games. So it's a big difference.
Yeah, Tua gets it out a lot quicker than
Yep.
Brissett.
Yep.
But their tackles aren't good. Hopefully we could stick Burns and Hassan Reddick in there and some blitz packages and just pin their ears back and
Yeah.
forget.
It's a different team with Tua. I mean, honestly, it really is. Like, Jacoby Brissett's just not a very good quarterback. The numbers are a pretty stark difference when you look at the two. So, but Tua is injury prone. So you get to Tua and you knock him down a couple of times, then we might be seeing Brissett at some point in
Or
this
you
game.
could just rattle him. I mean,
Yeah.
with those injury concerns, if you hit him constantly, he may just get shell shocked. And I mean, look at Sam Darnold when he started getting hit. He crumbled.
Yeah.
I mean, he crumbled.
Turned into the Jets, Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Any other thoughts here before we get into some of our predictions and
The
stuff?
Panthers offense needs to convert on third down better than they have been. They're sitting at 35% on third down. That's just unacceptable. And part of the problem is it's always third and long. They need to
Yep.
make sure they stay ahead of the chains on these.
Agreed. It doesn't seem like this offense, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
is able to complete anything that's 3rd and 6 or longer. 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 seems to be okay. But anything where you have to throw the ball more than 5 or 6 yards down the field doesn't seem to work for the Panthers. They just don't have the guy. They just don't have that. You got McCaffrey now, but defenses are keying on him in that situation.
They just don't have the scheme. They don't scheme well. I'll watch other teams where you could see a 15-yard route and he's wide open. No one around him. Every 15-yard route I see us catch, it's usually contested immensely.
Yeah, it's I mean, we've talked about Joe Brady a lot. I do hope that there is a change in the offseason. But, Jerry, you and I were, going back and forth a little bit on I guess, what the Panthers should do offensively in this game.
Yeah.
I personally think that they are going to have a lot of opportunities throwing the ball. I think you think they should probably focus on the run.
I do, because I need to say they seem to want to preface it the run, because last week we went against Washington, who has a bad pass defense, and we just dipped and dunked and ran the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying go all in on the run. Go all in. Take your shots. I am not saying don't take those shots. That keeps the defense honest. But the beer bet of the week is going to be Cam Newton over under 190 passing yards. I'm going under.
Yeah, I'll go over. He had 189 in his very first start last week. I think that, like we kind of talked about, the playbook's going to be opened up a little more. I do think this is going to be a close game.
I do too.
Really close game. I think these teams are very similar in terms of just what they can do. They do it different ways, but they're not going to score a ton of points, and they're not going to give up a ton of points. But I do think that the Panthers have the opportunity here to pass the ball a bit. And I don't know. I think that Cam's a new toy for this offense. They're going to want to take him out for a spin and see what he can do. So I do think that he'll go over 190, maybe not by a lot. And I hope it's not by a lot, because the more the Panthers are passing in this game, the worse it probably is for the Panthers. So, but I will take the over in that. All right, so let's get into our bold predictions, Jerry, and I'll let you go first.
Oh, it just slipped my mind. Oh, here it is. All right, so I think we're going to get to the quarterback quite often. I'm saying 6 sacks this game. Not for one player, but altogether 6 sacks.
Wow, that would be a lot, considering that Tua has only been sacked 8 times all season. So that would be pretty impressive. That's a bold prediction, Larry. Yeah. That is a bold prediction. I will say that the Panthers will finally have a 100-yard receiver in this game. It's been a long time since the Panthers have had anybody get a 100-yard receiving game. So I'm going to go DJ, and I'll say that he's got 130 or more. So that's going to go along with my Cam over 190. All right, and game predictions. So I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. I think this has been a very close game. I would go on the under in this game as well. So I think the Panthers win a very close one here, 22-17 Panthers victory.
I am very close to you. I am going 21-18. I want to pick the Panthers, but every time I do, they lose. So I'm going to pick the Dolphins and hope that I am just bad at picking, and I mean that the Panthers win.
The old reverse jinx. I mean, that, good job. You're taking one for the team. I appreciate
pretty
that.
much. Now,
all right. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, now looking around the NFC South real quick. Mm-hmm. Now we are recording this on Wednesday, but by the time it gets released, the Bills and Saints will play on Thursday Night Football for Thanksgiving. So hopefully the Bills will win that one. The Falcons and Jaguars play in the NFC South, and then we have the
riveting game. That one.
I was good. It was literally just like, oh, Falcons Jaguars. Moving on. You either have
to. You don't want to
be...
spend 5 minutes on Falcons Jaguars.
I don't think the Falcons and Jaguars fans really want to spend 5 minutes on that game.
Yeah.
Buccaneers and Colts, and I think that game will be very interesting.
That's going to be an interesting game. Yeah. The Bucs, not indestructible this season. They've had a kind of a rough go of it as of late. So interesting to see that. And it honestly gives the Panthers fans should give us some hope, because we faced them twice in the last 4 games of the season, or last 3 games of the season.
Yeah. And I think they're going to at least need to split to have a chance at the playoffs, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So the Panthers are 5-6. 7 games left. 6 games left for the Panthers.
Yeah.
Right? Atlanta, Miami, Atlanta. So let's see, Bucks, Saints twice, or Bucks Buffalo twice, Bills. Saints, and Buffalo. Okay, so say the Panthers, even at 9 wins, sneak in. They're going to have to win 4 of the next 6 games.
Yeah, you have to. I hate saying this, but you have to beat Miami here. You have to beat New Orleans and Atlanta, and I think you need to split with the Bucks. I mean, you could beat Buffalo. Buffalo's not.
Yeah, Buffalo's been a little Jekyll and Hyde this year.
Yeah, I mean, Jaguars beat them, so I mean, there's always a chance.
Yeah.
But that being said, that's the way I see the route going.
Yeah, I think I think this is a must-win game.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
This is a must-win game. We thought last week was a must-win game. They lost it. This is definitely a must-win game. Next week is a must-win game, or week after next, after the bye. And then you're right in there. So win these next two, and then you only have to go 2-2 in your last four.
The good news is the bottom of the NFC is struggling too. The Panthers aren't losing that much ground by these losses because other teams around them are losing as well.
Exactly. And we still have a game against the Saints, who are ahead of us in the standings. So, Panthers still control their own destiny, very much so. But it's got to start this week.
There's no question about it. If you're going to make the run, you got to do it now. You got to start piecing everything together now.
All right, Jerry, I think that'll do it.
All right, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
We'll be back on Sunday afternoon to discuss the Panthers' hopeful victory against Miami. But if they lose, we'll still be back. So until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.
Wow.